Hey there guys, it's Michael here, and if you give me 5 minutes of your time, I will show you how you can play along to any chord-based song, even if you're a total beginner. Now, one of the biggest problems faced by beginning guitar players and even early intermediate players is their inability to change between chords in time. Whenever you try and play along to your favorite songs, what ends up happening is you have to pause and think where your fingers go, and that kills the fluency of the song, leading to you feeling frustrated and like you'll never be able to get good at this instrument here. Now, the real root of the problem isn't the fact that you can't change between chords smoothly, it's actually the fact that you believe you have to change between chords smoothly. After all, what you're doing is you're comparing yourself to what you're hearing on the record. Now, this isn't actually fair, because if I was playing basketball, I wouldn't expect to be scoring as many points as Michael Jordan or LeBron James in my first couple of months of playing. But for whatever reason, as musicians and as guitar players, we compare ourselves and measure our success by how well we can play along to the recording. What we don't realize is that what we hear on the record is actually the product of often 10,000 hours of hard work and 10 years of a musical career before that artist ever got signed, ever jumped in the recording studio, and of course, the recording engineer put his studio magic and polished everything up and made it sound better. So it's just not a fair comparison to, after a couple of months, compare ourselves with our playing to where our favorite players were months or even years, maybe even decades into their own guitar playing journey. Jimi Hendrix started playing guitar at age 15 and had 10 years of learning, practicing, playing on stage, supporting other artists before you ever heard him on record. It's not fair that after a couple of months you listen to a Jimi Hendrix CD and go, man, this is so hard, I'm never going to be like him. Because he wasn't at that point 3 months, 6 months, 2 years into his journey. You hear him 10 years into his journey, and that's as a full-time musician putting countless hours every single day into playing guitar. What you need to do first and foremost is to stop comparing yourself to other guitar players and just focus on comparing yourself to where you were yesterday. The only guitar player you need to beat is the person you were the previous day. And if you practice consistently and implement the wonderful tips we share in this video, you are going to absolutely annihilate that person and become better every single day. But the first step is to stop those comparisons to people who are putting a lot more time into it than you are, or who have a couple of years, if not decades, of experience above what you have. So if we want to play along to our favorite songs, what we need to do is change our perception of the kind of things that we're going to play along to. And my final analogy before we actually get into the exercise for today is to, instead of being a guitar teacher, be a gym coach. Now, if I was your personal trainer at the gym and I wanted to show you how to lift weights, build bigger muscles and become fitter, what I don't want to do is start you off at a 100 kilo bench press. Now, if I was your personal trainer at the gym and I tried to get you doing a 100 kilo bench press in your very first session, there's a very high probability of that ending in disaster and you probably never wanting to set foot in a gym again. Unfortunately, that's what most guitar teachers do to their students when they try getting them learning songs which have open chords or bar chords from the very beginning. It actually takes months, if not years, to develop the ability to change between your chords smoothly. Now, side note, I do have a video which you can check out which helps accelerate the process at which you can change between chords. However, for most players, it's going to take about 6 months before you truly get comfortable changing between chords. Therefore, if we're trying to do this after only a couple of weeks and we're getting frustrated that we can't, then we're setting ourselves up for failure from the beginning. We are expecting that we can do something ultra fast when in fact it is going to take time to develop. We simply need to build the muscle memory of those complex chord shapes. Now, some teachers are a little bit better than average and mean well for their students, and they kind of figured out that bar chords are too tricky. So what they do is go, you know what, Hotel California is a little bit too tricky with bar chords. What we're going to do is play them with open chords, and we might use a capo or we might change the key so you can play along. Now, this has good intentions, but it's like going from a 100 kilo lift to an 80 kilo lift. It's still going to be way too much for most beginners. And once again, is going to lead to frustration as we try and do things that we're never going to be able to succeed at in the first place, leading to frustration, leading to us want to smash our guitar here and feeling like we can't believe that we can do it and doubting our abilities. And that, if we go through that phase long enough, is going to lead to us quitting, and we don't want that. If I was a great personal trainer at the gym, what I would be doing is starting you at the most basic form of bench press possible. I would get you to lay down on a bench and I would get you to grab a broomstick and just go through the bench press motions with a broomstick so that you get the motions correct and you get that sense of achievement because you believe you can do it. Now, the guitar equivalent of this is to simply play along to a song using the root notes on the bass line. Then, of course, once you get the hang of that, what we are going to do is to up the weight. And as a personal trainer, I might go from the broomstick to a small metal bar of say 10 kilos and then eventually a 20 kilo bar. And once we can manage that, then we can start adding weights on, and over a period of a couple of months and even years, we work towards a 100 kilo bench press. So what we want you to be doing is playing along to your favorite songs in the smallest, most achievable first step possible. And just like at the gym, we went from a broomstick to a small metal bar to a heavy metal bar to adding weights. What we want to do is go from the smallest, easiest achievable step on guitar to the next step and the next step, and gradually work our way up towards open chords and bar chords and more complex progressions, just like we would go from a lightweight to a heavier weight in the gym. It might take a couple of months or even years of progress, but if we start at the bottom and work our way up, it is going to be so much more achievable than starting with a heavy weight that we can never lift. And the more and more we try, the more we exhaust ourselves and the more frustrated that we get before we finally throw our hands up in the air and give up. So what is this achievable very first step for guitar? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is playing bass lines on string number 6. And this is super simple and will allow you to play along to any chord-based song, even if you're a total beginner. And once again, we need to change our perception that we need to make it sound exactly like it does on the record. If we can make a switch and go, you know what, the first step here is playing along using one note with one finger on one string, that is the foundation upon which everything else is going to be built up on top of. And what I'm going to do is show you how you can take that first step and then add next levels and next layers on top until you are playing exactly what you hear on the recording. So our example today is going to be the song Knocking on Heaven's Door, which is a G chord, a D chord, and an A minor chord. We do that twice, then we play a G chord again, a D chord, and then the C major chord. So if we're trying to play along to that, that might take at least a couple of weeks, if not a couple of months, to get comfortable strumming it like this. So rather than try and spend months and weeks getting used to changing between those chords smoothly, we have to go, okay, well, what's an easier step than doing our open chords? And we could do some simple triads, we could do some simplified 3-string versions, we could do some power chords, but first and foremost, the easiest step is to simply play along to the root notes on string number 6. So hopefully you have memorized your notes along string 6. If not, there's a video up above here which you can watch, which gets my super simple method for memorizing the fretboard. But essentially, guys, to summarize it up here for you, we want to play E as the open string, F at fret 1, G at fret 3, A at fret 5, B at fret 7, C at fret 8, D at fret 10, and E at fret 12. If we can memorize the locations of those notes, all we have to do is play the note that matches the root note of the chord as the chord comes along. So when I play the G chord, I want to play the G note at fret number 3. When I need to play the D chord, I'm going to go up to the D note at fret number 10. And then when the A note comes along, I'm going to play the A note for the A minor chord or the A major chord. It doesn't matter whether it's major or minor, we are going to play that chord there, that individual note. So I'm going to play G at fret 3, D at fret 10, A at fret 5, twice in a row. And I'm going to play G at fret 3 again, and then D at fret number 10, and then C at fret 8. So I can put the recording on and play along to that with 30 to 60 seconds worth of practice. In fact, if you just repeat the numbers 3, 10, 5, 5, 3, 10, 8, 8 a couple of times, get that stuck in your brain, you'll have that memorized. You won't even need to look up at the chord chart. And as the guitar number 1 is strumming the chord, you can play G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4. Now that might seem super simple, and some of you might be going, yeah, but Michael, that's cheating, that's not real music. If you were the bass player in the band, that is exactly what you would be doing at a basic level for most of the songs which you play. You're just laying down the harmony. And yes, it is easy, but if you went to YouTube or Spotify and put your favorite song on and then pressed play, you could play along pretty much start to finish at that basic level within 30 seconds of pressing play and trying to keep up and catch up and play along. It's not about whether it's exactly as it appears on the recording. It is about getting you playing along straight away, feeling good straight away, having fun playing your favorite songs straight away. And you can play along to most of your favorite songs as long as they are chord-based songs and not, crazy riff ones like Master of Puppets, pretty much from the very beginning. Now, I believe this is a much better approach to learning guitar, and you could get out a playlist of 10 songs, line them up, press play, look up the tabs, write out a couple of number combinations, 3, 10, double 5, 3, 10, double 8, and play along from day number 1 and build up a repertoire and a set list which you can jam along to and have the absolute time of your life. You are going to be much more motivated and have tons more fun playing and practicing that way. And then as you unlock new skills, as you get better at mastering your chord changes and can switch smoothly, that's when you go back and revisit the songs and play along learning the brand new chords. So what I want you to do right now is to pause this video and try playing along to Knocking on Heaven's Door by going G at the 3rd fret, D at the 10th fret, and A at the 5th fret. In fact, you can play along to this track which I'm doing right now. So obviously that is super basic, but it will allow you to get started playing along to your favorite songs right away. And as that becomes easy, what we can do is add some additional levels to make it a bit more challenging for us and a bit more musically interesting. Now, the first thing we can do with our picking hand is basically add in additional strums. So if I wanted to make it more challenging, I could do 4 picks per note. And straight away it sounds a lot more interesting. And if we took the rhythm from the strumming pattern and added that, just going down, 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 up, down, up. We already have a more interesting pattern which is going to prepare us for the strumming later on. Now, what comes next for the fretting hand? Well, the next thing we can do is just go to string 5 and find the same notes. And that's going to have a lot of jumping around. So the third level we can do is do some voice leading between 2 strings. Still playing 1 string at a time, there's no chords here yet. So we can go from this G to this D and this C. So already at a basic beginner level, we are starting to understand how the fretboard works, how the notes can be moved around, and how we can better play up and down the fretboard from the very beginning instead of learning this months or even years after we memorize all our open chords. So as I mentioned earlier, you can play along to hundreds, if not thousands of your favorite songs simply using bass lines and root notes on string 6 and including string number 5. But if you want to take it to that next level, the best thing you can do is add on power chords. Now, power chords get their name because they sound big and powerful. And in fact, even though we might see them as a simplified version of playing along to our favorite songs, a lot of artists, particularly in the late 80s, early 90s, the whole hard rock era, the whole grunge era, Blink-182, Nirvana, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, a lot of these bands use power chords in most of their songs and most of their riffs. So once again, it's not actually cheating. The very next level that we go to is what most of your favorite artists are using on the recording. So if we can fast track you getting to that and playing along to a lot of your favorite songs using power chords, then you are going to be able to play what's on the actual recording. So let's take a power chord and apply it to Knocking on Heaven's Door. So I'm going to play the G note at fret number 3 with my first finger, and little simple rule for power chords, your third finger is going to go down a string and plus 2 frets. So if my first finger is on 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, I want to do fret 5 on string number 5. So I'm going to play the G chord here, the D chord at fret 10, so 10 plus 2 is 12, my third finger's on 12, and then A was at 5, we're going to go 5 plus 2 is 7, and add that power chord on there, and of course the C power chord is at fret number 8. So I'm just going to go G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4. Back to G, and the D, and the C. And there we go. So guys, that is all you need in order to play along to hundreds, if not thousands, of your favorite songs. We're going to simply take a bass line, figure out where the root notes are on string number 6, and play along to the chord progression one note at a time. And as you get a bit more comfortable, make things a little bit more interesting with your picking hand, and as you get a bit more comfortable, take it to the power chords. You can do this to play along to tons and tons of songs while having fun, while jamming, while playing along as a total beginner pretty much from day number 1. So rather than trying to look up easy guitar songs, rather than trying to battle on through learning the changes to Hotel California and bar chords and looking up all these simple things to do, just take the songs that you know and love, play along with simplified versions, and as you get more and more comfortable with changing between your open chords, and you can do it smoothly, revisit these songs and go back and play over the top of them using the standard chords. So guys, I hope you found this video extremely helpful. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe so you can get some more great content from me. I'm going to be bringing out tons of great stuff to help you transform you from the player you are right now into the guitar legend rock star that you want to be. So thank you so much for watching this, and we'll see you in the next episode.